Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is the WIDA ACCESS Listening Lesson 2. Today we're going to be working on the ELD Standard 1 Social and Instructional Language. So just some things to remember about the listening section of the WIDA ACCESS test. You will need up to 65 minutes to complete this section. Because WIDA ACCESS is an adaptive test, the number of questions you answer and their level of difficulty vary. You usually answer 2 or 3 questions on the same topic. For each question, you can only listen to the audio once. Before listening, you see an image that introduces the topic or context, and you see the answer options before listening. These answer options could be images or text. And the question comes at the end of the audio, so you will need to listen carefully to be able to answer it. All right, the listening practice in this lesson focuses on social and instructional language. Social and instructional language is the language we use to communicate for social and instructional purposes within the school setting. This might include greetings, introductions, expressing preferences, requesting help, giving classroom instructions, talking about school schedules, describing tasks, or asking for clarification. So to improve your listening comprehension, remember these tips. So preview the question options before listening. Look carefully at the question options. This will help you know what to listen for. Listen for keywords, so pay attention to important words and phrases. These often highlight main ideas or important details in the audio. Use context clues. If a word or phrase is unfamiliar, listen to the surrounding information. Context can help you understand the overall meaning. Take notes. Write down key points as you listen or words as you listen. This can help you remember important information for answering the question later. And stay calm and focused. Take your time and stay focused on the audio. If you miss something, keep listening. There may be other parts that can help you answer the question. All right, so family traditions. So some things to think about as you're listening. What are some common family traditions? And what traditional foods do you like to eat?
Family traditions. Maria is giving a presentation about family traditions. You will listen and answer questions about how Maria's family celebrates holidays.
All right, so now read the answer choices and then listen. So take a moment now to read the answer choices. So choice A, they steam the tamales. B, they make the dough. And C, they wrap the dough. So based on the answer choices, what do you think the question might be?
Take a moment now to read the answer choices. Now listen and answer the question.
In my family, we make tamales for special occasions, like holidays. My mom and grandma do most of the work. First, they make the dough and fill it with meat and red chili sauce. Then, we all wrap the dough in corn husks and steam them. It takes a few hours, but we all help a little. Tamales are a big part of our holiday meals.
What do Maria's mom and grandma do first when making tamales?
All right, so now check your notes. So the correct answer is B. They they make the dough. And here in the transcript she said first they make the dough. Answer option B is directly stated as the first step, and options A and C take place after. So they are mentioned, but they're not the first step. All right, now we're going to listen a little more, and you can think about these questions as you listen. Does your culture have any traditions related to music? And what kind of music is important in your culture?
Maria continues her presentation. Listen and answer the questions.
So, first, take a moment to read the answer choices. Maria's family sets up the table with food and decorations, plays mariachi music, and then sings together. Maria's family begins by singing, then they set up the table and finally play mariachi music. Maria's family plays mariachi music, then sets up a table and ends with singing together. And Maria's family sets up the table, plays instruments together, and then listens to mariachi music.
Take a moment now to read the answer choices. Now listen and answer the question.
During holidays and family birthdays, my family loves listening to mariachi music. We usually start by setting up a table with food and decorations. Then, we play mariachi songs that my grandparents grew up with. Everyone sings along or dances, especially during birthdays. My uncle often plays the guitar, and my cousins join in on some of the songs. This tradition brings everyone together. When the music starts, it feels like a celebration. It's one of the best parts of our family gatherings.
Right, now check your notes. And the correct answer is A. Maria's family sets up the table with food and decorations, plays mariachi music, and then sings together. And this is shown here in red in the transcript. Okay, we'll continue with another question about family traditions. Here's some things to think about. What are some important celebrations in your culture? Is there a celebration at the end of the year and the start of the next year?
Maria continues her presentation. Listen and answer the questions.
So take a moment now to read the answer choices, then you can listen. Playing games and eating grapes at midnight represent letting go of the past and focusing on the future. Eating dinner together strengthens family bonds before they welcome the new year with the 12 grapes for good luck. The dinner gives everyone energy for the games they play after eating grapes at midnight. And they celebrate with dinner, games, and 12 grapes, but each part is unrelated to the others.
Take a moment now to read the answer choices. Now listen and answer the question.
For New Year's Eve, my family has a special tradition. First, we eat a big dinner late at night to bring us together. We usually have rice, beans, and roast pork, dishes that are meaningful to our culture. After dinner, my cousins and I play games like cards or dominoes, while the adults talk and laugh. Just before midnight, each of us gets 12 grapes. When the clock strikes midnight, we eat one grape with each chime, making a wish for each month of the new year. This way, we start the year with hope and good luck.
Which statement best describes Maria's explanation of her New Year's Eve celebration?
And again, check your notes. And the correct answer is B. Eating dinner together strengthens family bonds before they welcome the new year with the 12 grapes for good luck. And so here we have highlighted in red uh, the things that were said in the audio that support that answer. All right, now we're going to listen to some questions related to lab procedures. So think about these questions before you continue. How often do you have science classes in a lab? And what kind of equipment do people use in a science lab?
Lab procedures. A science class is learning about working in a science lab. You will listen and answer questions about lab procedures.
All right, so here we have some pictures. So just kind of look at these and maybe see if you can guess what the question might be.
Take a moment now to look at the answer choices. Now listen and answer the question.
Today, we'll be working with beakers and test tubes. First, make sure to wear your goggles and lab coat. Second, gather all the tools you'll need like a stirring rod, test tubes, and gloves. Third, carefully read the instructions for the experiment.
What does the teacher ask students to do first?
Okay, check your notes. And the correct answer is A. First, make sure to wear your goggles and lab coat. So it shows the kids with their lab coats and their goggles on. All right, we're going to continue talking about lab procedures. Think about what this sign means and what other signs are often in science labs.
The science teacher explains some of the rules for working in a science lab to one of the students, Alex.
So take a moment to read the answer choices, then we'll listen. So to keep food and drinks safe from harmful chemicals, to prevent spills and keep the lab clean, to avoid distractions that could lead to mistakes, and to make science experiments take less time. So take notes as you listen to help you answer the question.
Take a moment now to read the answer choices. Now listen and answer the question.
Alex, you're following the lab rules well. I noticed you kept your station neat and double-checked your measurements. Look at the "No eating or drinking in lab" sign near the sink. Think about what could happen if food or drinks were allowed in the lab. Why do you think this rule is important, especially with chemicals around? Some of these chemicals are dangerous.
Why is the no eating or drinking in lab rule important in a science lab?
So check your notes and then choose the answer to the question. And the correct answer is A, to keep food and drinks safe from harmful chemicals. And here it's highlighted, think about what could happen if food or drinks were allowed in the lab. Some of these chemicals are dangerous. Right, again, we're going to continue talking about lab procedures. So what usually happens at the beginning of a science class in the lab, and what usually happens at the end?
At the end of the class, the teacher gives some final instructions to Alex and the other students.
Okay, take a moment to read the answer choices and then listen. I'll quickly look at the protocol at school right before class. Sure, I'll review the lab materials and practice the steps at home. Should I bring my own materials for the experiment? And where are the test tubes?
Take a moment now to read the answer choices. Now listen and answer the question.
That's the end of today's lab prep. Next class, I'll review the safety procedures one more time. But before then, I'd like you to practice these steps at home. Read over the lab protocol, list all the materials you'll need, and plan the experiment in the correct order. This will help you feel prepared and safe.
What is the best response from Alex?
Okay, choose your answer. Check your notes if you have any doubts. And the correct answer is B. Sure, I'll review the lab materials and practice at home. All right, so which of the questions did you find the easiest to answer and why? Which questions were difficult to answer and why? And what do you need to remember to do when you take the WIDA Access listening test? And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.